My life story. A delicate gift. Abandoned at birth. From 1 month old, a little baby was placed in an adoption agency. A loving young woman glowed with joy every time she saw the baby, whom she eventually adopted. The baby smiled and giggled every time she saw the pretty lady, who became her mother. The pretty lady's husband came to see the baby, but seemed extremely distant. After 7 months, the baby was taken to her new beautiful home and put into her own pretty room just for her. For a while, things were great. The mother and daughter were inseparable. Then things changed drastically. The baby's new father began to scream and act horribly towards the baby's new mother. This behavior would start and stop when the father would leave for 2 to 3 months and then return. One day, after about 1.5 years, her adopted parents bought the baby a puppy. The baby was so happy. An uncle started coming to visit the baby's parents to see their new bundle of joy. The little baby played with her puppy in her pretty room. The uncle would go to the baby's room, pretend he was petting the puppy while he was molesting the baby. Every time the uncle came over, he molested the baby again and again. One day, the baby saw the uncle at the screen door and screamed uncontrollably and ran to her mother, the one person she felt safe with. The baby held tightly to her mother and wouldn't let go. She kept crying and screaming violently. Her mother knew something was wrong because the baby had never acted like this before. The baby's mother told the uncle that he was not welcome there ever again. The father returned after being gone for months and started screaming at the child's mother again. One day, as the mother was hanging some new kitchen curtains, while the child was looking up smiling at her, suddenly, without warning, the father kicked the ladder out from underneath his wife. The child began to scream and cry as she saw her mother fall violently and hit the ground. The behavior of the father went on indefinitely, every time he went away and returned. The child's grandparents told the mother to come home and bring the child with her. The child loved her grandparents. They were kind, quiet, and loving. The father was furious that the mother and child went to the grandparents. While there, the child's grandfather became ill and fell to the ground. The child and her mother were left all alone, while her grandfather lay dying on the floor. The mother called to her husband to come help. While waiting, the child and her mother were left sitting on the floor next to the grandfather's body for what seemed like an eternity. The child looked up at her with tears in her eyes as her mother said, "Grandpa is gone." The husband now entered the house. It had taken him over 3 hours to arrive. Years passed, and the husband filed for divorce. He got powerful people to lie in the court and say that the mother was unfit. The husband then gained custody of the child. Though he didn't really want the child, he just wanted to hurt his ex-wife. He put the little girl in a boarding school so that he could be free. While in the boarding school, the little girl was mistreated. Because of her blonde, curly hair, she was bullied and laughed at because she looked different. She was unfairly treated, unjustly punished, and at certain times she was made to go without food. The little girl was locked in dark closets for unlimited amounts of time as a way of punishment for things that she did not do. Pushed around and bullied by other girls, not allowed to have visitors, an innocent child was treated like a convicted felon. She was made to use a buffer 3 times her size to clean hallway floors. Because of her petite size and the power of the buffer, she endured serious bodily injury. The young girl asked her mother to come and get her out of the boarding school. Her mother explained that it was against the court order. Unfortunately, during the time they were kept apart, her mother suffered spiritual and emotional pain so great that it caused her self-esteem to be extremely low. Finally, the mother gained custody of the young girl. The young girl discovered that because of her mother's broken heart, she had become weak to alcohol. So now she was a young girl trying to be an adult, to care for one she loved so deeply, her loving mother. The isolation, pain, and mistreatment continued in the young girl's life. Now in Catholic school, she wanted to go to public school. She asked her adoptive parents if she could attend public school. They both said no, but they reconsidered and let her go. Their decision led to her experiencing a very traumatic event. She was a young 12-year-old petite girl weighing a mere 98 pounds, who wanted nothing more than to just have friends. There was a group of girls who asked her to join a club, but actually, it was a gang. Because she did not know that important fact, she blindly agreed. She was told that there was a little initiation. Still wanting to be accepted, she agreed. 6 girls at 5'9" were weighing about 145 pounds, put the young petite girl in the center ring they had formed around her. On the count of 3, they started beating her using both of their fists, all 12 at the same time. They broke her nose, they severed her upper lip from her nose, they fractured her chin, they damaged her right arm so badly that they almost pulled it away from her shoulder. They left her leg twisted and pulled until it was limp, just hanging there. Her right eye had been punched so severely that it was damaged, bloodied, bruised, and cut, almost severed from the socket. They brutally kicked her repeatedly, leading to her internal organs being severely bruised. They left her lifeless little body lying there bloodied and barely alive. They had left her to die. This was a bullying experience she would never forget. What could she have done to deserve this? Her father took her to a therapist. During that 2-year period, the therapist talked to the girl, and she remained silent. The father was furious because he thought that she would be able to get over it. One day, the girl decided to talk to the therapist, but the girl stated that she never wanted to discuss the brutal attack again. She was shy, withdrawn, and spiritually broken. Years went by, and the girl was in Catholic high school, scared, alone again, and wanting to fit in. She'd finally had what she thought was a best friend, but later found out that wasn't the case. The girl started making her own clothes. She learned how to make suits, bound buttonholes, beautiful garments, and even her own patterns. The so-called friend took the girl's house key out of her purse, went to her home, and stole every stitch she made, patterns and all. This was such a betrayal. While on a group date, she found herself alone with a young man she had known as a friend and was date raped. Now she was hurt again by people she thought cared about her. Why? She never told her parents about this horrible fact that she had been date raped. In Catholic college, on an exchange program, the young lady studied abroad in 13 European countries. While there, she became violently ill. She wanted her father to come and get her because she was so sick, but he opted not to come and get his daughter. Her mother was devastated, knowing that her child was across the ocean sick and alone. The young lady had to fly back to the U.S., strapped on the floor of the main aisle between the seats because she was unable to sit up. Once back in the United States, she couldn't eat solid foods, so they fed her intravenously. 2 years went by, and the young lady went back to college. Now she was well. However, she then discovered that her dear mother had cancer, which completely threw the young lady into shock. This was a real hard pill for her to swallow. While her mother was dying, the young lady prayed to God to take her mother out of her misery and take her up to heaven. She watched her beloved mother's health deteriorate and then finally die in a most horrifying manner. This broke the young lady's heart and emotionally took her to a place she had never known existed. The young lady could not believe that the only person she really loved and who loved her was gone. The young lady's spirit was broken. She was physically ill at her beloved mother's passing. She had a fever, she was extremely vulnerable, and had a vision of the devil at the foot of her bed and an angel at the head of her bed. The young lady knew this was a struggle for her soul, since she had felt so hopeless and helpless. She knew she had to fight. A family member suggested that she go to the hospital where they could administer medication. The young lady knew that this was a battle she had to fight herself, win or lose. She said thanks, but no. It was not a medical or mental issue, but a spiritual awakening and revelation. She fought for her soul for months. She didn't know how she was going to live without her loving mother. After a while, she went on working, throwing herself into the thing that she loved most, makeup. She began working for a well-known brand name, doing seminars and clinics and educating women on makeup techniques. Wanting to fulfill her dream, she pursued her career vigorously by going after additional training opportunities and experiences. Trained by department heads of major studios in Hollywood, she worked on a major studio lots doing TV shows, commercials, print and films, while working on some well-known actors and actresses. A woman of substance, she has taken her pain, love, support, sincerity, hope, and all of her experiences and brought them together to help women become the very best that they can be from inside out. She formed a nonprofit 501c3 that taught young inner-city girls how to become successful young ladies through decorum, nonviolence, self-love, and self-respect. She says, your circumstances in life don't have to define you. You can go from natural to knockout by tapping into your personal, spiritual power to become the ultimate best you ever. Currently, one of the young ladies she has helped is now in a residency program becoming a doctor. She worked diligently and became a 3-time Emmy Award winner, a 7-time Emmy Award nominee, and authored an award-winning book, Natural to Knockout, Makeup, Beauty, and You. The entire book is a great tool. However, the last chapter, Your Whole Being, is heartwarming. Women all over love her book, and her personal story is deep, to say the least. She speaks to all women on self-love and self-acceptance. I'm sure you will find her warm, genuine, and sensitive, as we all have. You can purchase her book on www.amazon.com. You can see her on www.facebook.com/natural to knockout. And you can reach her for personal book signings, inspirational speaking, seminars, and lectures. She has a private group for women that enables them to talk and share whatever they feel. And that is www.facebook.com/groups/natural to knockout/. For more information or for bookings, call 323-533-5050 or email at ntkflawless@gmail.com.